live. I'm Liz McDade, a huge Columbo fan and a small business owner living in Santa Cruz, California. And this is my brother.
I'm Paul McDade, an editor and an actor working in the TV and film industry in Los Angeles. And this is Trenchcoat, Cigar, Peugeot, Wandering with Columbo. In each episode, we'll bring you a little Hollywood history, glamour, and some behind the scenes as we walk you through Columbo, one of America's greatest TV detective series.
That's right. And today we are covering Season 3, Episode 3, Candidate for a Crime, which aired November 4th, 1973. And I gotta say, Paul, I am so excited that we're talking about this episode, but I was also a little bit nervous because it's one of my all-time favorites. And I don't know, I just want to make sure we do it justice.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that was one of your favorites.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I vaguely remember some of the things. I think I might have seen it before years ago, but it was totally fresh when I watched it.
Yay, good.
A week ago.
So our snack tonight is cake and our drink is bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul, what do you got going over there?
So I went down to the local liquor store, Gerlach's, where the kids get their snacks sometimes. And Louie, who called me Joe as our brother Joe,
oh,
he introduced me to somebody and said, "Oh, this is Joe." It's like, no, that's Uncle Joe, the one you always talk about. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But anyway, I said, "What about a bourbon from the 70s?" And he said, Four Roses. I had never heard of this.
Okay, yeah.
Have you heard of this?
I've had that. Yeah,
I never heard of it. I was like, is it any good? He's like, what is this? Like, is it for a gimmick or a prop? And I was like, no, it's for this podcast I do for Columbo. He's like, oh, it's fine.
It's fine.
So, yeah, because it wasn't too pricey, because they have, like, vaults of bourbon in glass cases that you can look at, like $50, $200.
Right.
So this is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and I'm very anxious. So what did you think? It's got like a cork.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think we might have some of that in our little liquor cabinet right now, actually.
Oh, okay. You think?
Yeah, well, I'm having Evan Williams.
Oh, yeah.
And
that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's on ice, and it's actually, the ice has really melted and watered it down, which is good.
You should do that. Yeah, you should make those big ice blocks.
Oh, that'd be fun.
They serve at restaurants.
Yeah.
I love those. I
also put 2 peels off of a lemon and like just the zest.
Oh, good idea.
Off of and I also brought out a little soda in case it's too
strong.
In case it's too strong, but the water really helps. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I like it just by itself.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No ice.
Yeah, I mean, I like ice, but sometimes I don't. I go back and forth, depending on how I'm feeling, and sometimes the water I can just taste the water.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't. I don't think I've had bourbon probably since we did it on one episode, maybe.
Yeah, same. I don't have bourbon very often. All right, I am super excited about this cake. All these pictures are on our Instagram, so head to instagram.com/trenchcoatcigar. This cake is a lemon cake. It's vegan. It's from a birthday party that we went to yesterday. And the person who made it said, please take some cake home. There's too much cake. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I need cake for my for my recording.
Yeah.
And it is delicious. The recipe is from Nora Cook's Vegan. It's got lemon zest and a lemon frosting, and it's like super moist and fluffy.
What's the icing made of? I wonder.
Just like a vegan butter and powdered sugar. What about your cake, Paul? What do you got?
I know there's this place that in Larchmont. It's near Paramount, and they have Vesta. My daughter, she loves. So St. John, her mom took her to get some scones and donuts on Saturday, but we didn't get anything. But that's a good place to go. But it's kind of a drive from where we're at. So there is a local place in Pasadena called Valentine's, and I went there, but they don't have cake they do have vegan cake, but not gluten-free cake. So, but they do have gluten-free cupcakes.
Ooh, that looks delicious.
And it's a cookies and cream.
Mm.
Yeah, Valentine Sweets is the name of the place. They have tea cakes, ginger spice tea cakes, and
yum.
They have all kinds of stuff. Keto cookies. But so I'll try this one.
Is that like a marshmallow? So it's a chocolate cupcake with a big blob of white. Is that like a marshmallow or like a whipped cream?
It's probably vegan. So it's probably like what you said. I didn't ask.
Yeah.
But it's probably like what you said, like a vegan butter.
Vegan frosting, yeah.
Vegan frosting, yeah. Because I took our brother Andrew
nice.
There with Max.
Well, we have 2 instances of cake in this. What'd you say, coconut?
Yeah, there's coconut in it.
Yum. So we'll highlight the moments in the show when our drink and snack show up, but there's a few different instances of bourbon or some kind of brown spirit, and there's also a couple instances of cake in this episode.
You hear a beeping.
You hear a beep?
Or if you watch the video, you'll see a symbol saying, no, I'm just kidding. Do you remember those DVDs? Like they made these DVDs that you could follow something along and something would appear on the screen. There's like these bonus DVDs that you could get that had special.
Oh, wow.
Like now is the time when they used a cue from Tangerine Dream as opposed to James Horner. Like that, like some kind of weird trivial thing. There was a series of DVDs at one point. Like I was working at Blockbuster, so it would appear on the screen, but you had to choose that in your menu to follow along. You want to find the different. I mean, it would be random, like a commentary. I'm not probably remembering it correctly, but I remember there was this new thing that they had for a while when you watch the movie and it would appear on the screen. You know, like now it's time to take a drink. And John Waters did the smell-o-rama in one of his films where you had a scratch and sniff thing. And so like when someone like the fart scene or I never saw the movie, but our brother Joe had a stack of these John Waters smell-o-rama scratch cards.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Him and Maxwell and some other people found them at this old movie theater, the Picture Show, that used to exist in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 90s, long time ago.
Back in the day.
So that's what we need for this. So when you hear a beep beep, that means the bourbon is happening.
Okay.
Or you could just see it on the screen.
Yeah. I mean, good idea. We should somehow get that feature going. All right. Well, let's move on to Smoke Signals. This is where we read letters from listeners. And we have a couple we want to share today. And the first one is from Anne, who wrote in with an awesome memory. She says, I have a distinct memory of my slightly older brother, John, who loved Columbo and Mad Magazine, enticing me and my twin sister, Beth, to act and sing the Mad Magazine Columbo song and skit. I still remember some lyrics after almost 50 years. Wow, Anne, we need to hear Columbo.
I want to hear Anne sing Columbo.
Me too. This is amazing.
Cool. I just love that her brother had her do that.
I know.
Her and her twin sister Beth. That's so wonderful.
I love it. That's amazing. Well, anyhow, Anne, thank you for writing. If you want to share the lyrics, we would love to hear and see them. If you want to sing, we could include a little snippet.
We'll find that. If Anne can't find it, we'll find it.
Okay. Yeah, we should look for that.
We have some Mad magazines here.
Oh, yeah, you might actually have that.
Maybe. I think I had. They stopped making Mad. They just do reprints now. They still sell it, but it's all old stuff. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And then one more from Lisa. So we covered Any Old Port in a Storm in our last episode, and in the final scene, or not the final scene, but one of the final scenes, Columbo is at the very fancy restaurant with Adrian Carcini and Karen, and they're on the dessert course. And I was really curious what they were eating. I couldn't tell. And Lisa says, I did a little Googling regarding the dessert that Columbo was eating with Carcini and his assistant during the liquid filth scene. And it may have been a sweet dessert ravioli filled with ricotta called ravioli dolce. So thank you, Lisa. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was because it looked like a little ravioli.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to have to
We'll
look
have to
that
try
up.
that. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah, just when I see liquid filth, it's just so funny.
Yeah.
Donald Pleasance.
I know. And we have one more observation from Darren who sent us an email that we'll share when we get to that scene. So email us at trenchcoatcigar@gmail.com with any thoughts, reflections, observations about Columbo or the last episode or corrections. If we mess something up, feel free to correct us. And we always love hearing from you. One last little announcement before we get into the meat of this show. We do have a Patreon. So if you'd like to show your support for the show and get some bonus content from us, you can go to patreon.com/trenchcoatcigar and you can pledge any amount you like and you'll get some extra bonuses. Patreon is spelled patreon.com/trenchcoatcigar. And we want to thank our current patrons, Jen, Sam, and Derek. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And we have a couple of short reflections from our patrons that we'll also share when we get to our overall reflections and rating of this episode. So thank you. And all right, quick summary here, Paul.
All right.
A candidate for U.S. Senate, Nelson Hayward, murders his campaign manager in part because Hayward has a mistress who he wants to keep seeing. Hayward tries to make the murder look like an attempt on his own life. And Columbo gets a little suspicious at the crime scene because of the victim's watch, the temperature of the car, and more. So let's get into this. All right, it is time to check in with the police. So this episode opens on the city lights of Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Police Department. We see Nelson Hayward. He's swarmed by members of the press. He's talking about how he's giving criminals a hard time. That's why his life is being threatened. And we get to see Columbo right away.
Yeah.
I feel like this might be one of the few episodes where we see Columbo at the beginning. He's got some sort of a yellow soda or juice or something in one hand and a cup.
Reminds me of like a Fanta or something. Like the Fanta.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. Or a squirt.
Mm-hmm. If they had, I don't think they had squirt back then.
Yeah, it's kind of a new thing. All right, well, now it's time for a drink, Paul.
All right. Take a sip.
We're going to cut to a hotel suite where we meet Linda Johnson and Harry Stone. So Linda Johnson is Hayward's mistress. Harry Stone is the campaign manager. And Linda rolls her eyes at Harry's remark. They're watching Hayward on the TV, and Harry Stone says, "I think I just clinched your boyfriend's election." Linda rolls her eyes at him. Harry says he's called Linda there to tell her that she needs to leave Nelson because he is going to be a happily married senator. And she says, well, she needs to hear this kind of information from Nelson. She's not going to believe it until he tells her. And then Harry says that Nelson does whatever he tells him to do. So we're really getting at the motive in this scene here that, Nelson's got a mistress, not the best idea when you're running for senator. And it sounds like Nelson is pretty well controlled by Harry. So, I just want to point out, Paul, I went and looked through the Shooting Columbo book by David Koenig, and which we've talked about before, and he talks a little bit about this episode, and it was rewritten quite a bit.
Yeah.
Did you look at this part?
Yeah, I read it. Yeah, that was interesting. Taking out anything kind of political, that might stand out race-wise, and or something that could be deemed as, what would you say, controversial or something for major television, and then the murder, like the motive. What's his real motive? Yeah, that right. All. What did they changed the motive? Right, it was like the right. Did you take a note on that?
Yeah. So It sounds like the first version of this script, the motive behind the murder was not clear. So they had to really, I think it sounded like the viewer wouldn't understand the motive until they got to just about the end of the episode. So they changed that and they put this scene right up at the beginning. So we learn right away what the motive is behind this murder. So I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Linda leaves the hotel suite. There's nothing super special about the costumes or the scene here, but I will say that Linda looks really well put together, and she's wearing this really nice shade of brown sweater dress with some cool brown buttons that kind of look like the shape of blackberries. So that was a fun little detail. And this is our first instance of, I think there's like 4 or 5 instances of some kind of mystery brown spirit on ice. We guessed bourbon. So that's what's inspired the drink for this episode. Is there anything else you wanted to say about this scene or the first scene, Paul?
Ken Swofford, he's a really strong actor. I like him.
Mm-hmm. Harry Stone?
Yeah. He was perfect to be this. He nailed just sort of controlling him, sort of pushing him around, his words like, "You're nothing without me." And I recognized the other performer, Tisha Sterling. She's good. They're all good in this sort of moment. Jackie Cooper too, when he comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Have we gotten to that? Did you say that yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they all. Yeah, I thought they both did a nice job here.
And they originally, like you said in the book, they added all the sort of police there instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
So they made it look like they added scenes where there's a bunch downstairs watching out, not just the one upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had to really flesh it out to make it look like there's more scheming that needs to happen than just escaping from one police officer at the door.
Yeah, and the threat for his life too, I think, is more pronounced with having more people.
Yes. So Linda's left the suite, but now Hayward is arriving, and he's pulling into the hotel parking garage with his, the cops nearby. Did you recognize the garage, Paul?
Uh-oh. No, where's it from? Oh, is it from the one where he kills the wife by the beach?
Yes.
With the 2-shot?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
so
okay.
Death lends a hand. This is
did.
Mr. Brimmer's agency's parking garage. It's also in one other episode. Well, actually, that we've covered. It could come up in other ones in the future, but it's in one other episode that we've talked about. Any guesses?
The Greenhouse Jungle?
Requiem for a Falling Star. So this is the police headquarters garage that he brings Nora Chandler to.
Oh, yeah, I did recognize that. I thought you meant the beach house one again.
Oh, yeah. No.
Okay. I'm sorry. My brain. That was just a lucky guess then for me.
No
I recognize that from being that location. I don't know. Just now I did.
Yeah. So, all right. So Hayward gets to his suite. He packs up his scene of the crime briefcase. So he gets a gun in there.
The watch. He gets the watch.
And the watch. Yes. Thank you. And then Hayward, so he does that without Harry Stone watching, obviously. And then he goes back into the main living area of this hotel suite or apartment or whatever it is. And he notices that there's some lipstick on a glass. Linda was there, and this is where Stone lays down the law. He says you can't see Linda anymore. And Hayward says, okay, he'll dump her, that's fine, but he needs to break the news in person. So he convinces Stone that they should swap coats, and Hayward gives Stone his brown fedora. They swap cars. They trick the cop at the door into going and getting him some cigars. And then they go down to the garage, and he tells Stone to drive out to the beach house and then call a cab. And then Hayward slinks behind a pillar down in the garage and watches Stone drive away. And then that's time for a drive.
Okay.
And we get some really cool Highway 1 footage here. I don't know if it's pretty short, but I just love seeing old Highway 1. Mm. Highway 1 is the road that goes along the coast, the California coast. And it's totally built up now. But in this moment. It's still kind of rural and undeveloped.
Yeah, I really like the B-roll in this episode, like the opening shots of the sunset or the sunrise. I think the sunset. I thought, and then the outside of the building that the press conference is going on at, and then this one. I thought they kind of stepped up their game a little bit in terms of the quality. Maybe it's the prints of some of that stuff. I don't know, but it kind of stood out for me in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that like I don't even think about when I'm watching it, but it's what makes this one of my favorite episodes, because that B-roll pulls you in more, right? It makes you like feel like you're there. Mm-hmm. So Stone pulls into the garage of Hayward's beach house, and of course I had to see what we can find out about this filming location. IMDb lists it as 31346 Broad Beach Road in Malibu. And it looks like it's kind of like a flag lot. So there's Broad Beach Road, and then there's like an offshoot driveway that houses several homes. Like they all have the same, they're all on Broad Beach, but they're like off on their own long driveway. So obviously the house is totally different now, but if you look at it on Google Maps, you can still kind of get a feel for that it probably was, that it would make a lot of sense that that's where they filmed it. Like it does look pretty similar. Yeah, it's really narrow, and it's right off of a sort of Malibu, canyon-y kind of road right by the beach, or on the beach, I should say. There's actually a beach public access right next to there. So there's a little bit of street parking, and you could actually park and walk down to the beach right next to this home. And the home is, according to some, random real estate sites, it's worth about $18 million now. It's very dreamy with like an ocean view pool, ocean view hot tub,
awesome.
Very Malibu luxury. Wow. And this is Hayward's little beach house in the 70s. It probably was like a fairly modest home then, but all those houses have been torn down and totally rebuilt. So it's time for the main event. Stone gets out of his car only to find Hayward is waiting in the garage in the dark, and Hayward shoots him down, swaps out his watch for a different watch, which he breaks on the concrete floor of the garage. And that's the last we see of Harry Stone. Paul, did you want to talk at all about him? I don't know if you did any research on Harry.
Yeah, the dialogue when they're in is it a hotel room or?
Yeah, hotel suite or something.
Yeah, he said, stay out of my business. Nelson Hayward saying that, and he's like, I know where the bodies are buried because I buried them. That's another thing where they must have done some other stuff that's not on the up and up, and so this guy has so much on him that he's killing him not just for the having dating Linda Johnson, but other stuff, other nefarious stuff, and then just that he's putting the thumb screws on him with everything.
Right. Yeah, you're right, and I don't know if I even mentioned that these threats against Hayward's life have been made up, right? So.
Well, we don't know that at this point.
No, we do. Stone says something like, "That's the best stunt I've ever pulled."
Oh.
Made all 3 networks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So we also get the sense there that these two have done some.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So they're always doing
things together. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I remember that line, and it hit me, and just for some reason I just didn't remember.
Yeah. Well, I thought he did a great job. Very convincing. And kind of a crazy comb over. Reminded me of our 45th president a little bit.
Yeah. I think they're just at this point in their relationship that's just so toxic. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish he could have had a different note to his behavior, the Harry Stone character, because it's all the same. You know what I mean? It's all, it's my bloody show, my way, no way, only my way. Both of you, right. So it's all the same. It's good and believable, but it'd been great to have a little, change, like say something like when they did exchange coats and stuff, they were at least friendly enough to, hey, just wear my jacket, maybe something a little more about the old relationship that they might have had or something, but that's just me, what would I change, but the guy was Ken Swofford was great.
That's true. Like, clearly Ken Swofford is invested in this person. He, must believe in him on some level. But we don't really get to see that side of the relationship. So
yeah,
that would have been cool.
Yeah, because then you really you see yourself in the characters. You see the levels. Anytime, and it may not be in the lines at all. So Ken, as an actor, maybe couldn't even have an opportunity for that, obviously. But it's always, to me, that's when people love those bad guys, when they do see the other side with the nice side and stuff, because it makes them so rich.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a good point. I never thought of that, but I think it's a really good point that, would have been interesting to make him a little more 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional.
Yeah, but then everything, like him killing him, it gives you a little more shock value too with that. All these little things. If you can get them in there, I mean, good luck in the TV studio, making a TV show on a.
I think I read in the book that they had to make this an extra long episode, so they added because there was just so much that they ended up making it a 2-hour episode, and they added two extra scenes.
It's an hour and 28 minutes.
Oh, it is? I thought it was longer than that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and on the freebie, it's telling me 128 or 138.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it says it's around there. It's like I've watched 10 minutes. We're 10 minutes in, and at the far right, it's an hour 28. Yeah, so it's 138 minutes.
Okay, but with commercials, it'd be like a 2-hour show, right?
Oh yeah, true.
And normally they're only 90 minutes or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyhow, we're rambling.
Yeah. Stop, Paul.
Let's celebrate, Paul.
Yeah.
It's time to celebrate.
Okay.
Hayward has killed Harry. He shows up at his other house, and we see that there's someone hiding in a bush. We see his wife, Vicky, is alone inside the house calling for Juanita, tinkling ice cubes in her empty cocktail glass.
Yeah, she's drunk. She's great.
I love this moment. Juanita doesn't come, so she has to get up and go fix her own drink.
She twirls around.
She's dancing around in her living room. And I just want to point out that the set in this scene is very similar to a set that we're going to see in an upcoming episode, Deadly State of Mind. It's like a slightly sunken living room with a dining room that's a couple steps up. And there's 2 long, low sofas with floral upholstery. And the sofas look super similar. They also look really similar to the sofa in Requiem for a Falling Star. I went down a small sofa rabbit hole today. We're going to put pictures of all the sofas on our Instagram so you can see. They're not the same. They're slightly different, but they're super similar. Oh, and this is our second bourbon sighting. Seems that's what Mrs. Hayward is drinking. And this is kind of a cool moment. So she goes in and fixes herself a drink. And then someone turns off the lights in the living room. She comes back out and she's like, Juanita? And then Nelson puts his hands around her eyes and then he yells, surprise! And all her friends come out and it's a surprise party. But there's that moment where you don't really know what he's going to do to his wife because we know he's just murdered someone and we know he has a mistress. Mm-hmm. So I like that little bit of drama.
Yeah, that was excellent. Really good writing for that section there. Yeah, there's a Tales from the Crypt. Has something similar to that. I never saw it, but a friend of mine described the whole episode to me one time on a car drive. He's like, it's one of the greatest Tales from the Crypts. This is what happens. And it has a similar kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good show. I remember that. Some of the scenes from that still stick with me 20 years later, 30 years later.
You used to watch Tales from the Crypt?
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of scary, so I don't think I watched a ton of it, but I would see it every now and then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we have an awesome birthday party for Vicky Hayward. People have presents. People are wearing sparkly dresses. There's cocktails, music, food, cake. This is our first cake sighting. And, I love looking at the food of Columbo. There's a giant cake. They've got some yummy looking buns, a tray of roasted meat, peas and carrots, and everyone sits down for dinner. Nelson's trying to cut his wife off from her drink at some point.
Yeah, he's like, we're stopping that.
Grabs the cup away from her. Mm-hmm. And when everyone's seated at the table, Nelson says, "I'll be right back." And he makes the call to the police and says that Hayward is, so I think he like covers the mouthpiece or something. He tries to like disguise his voice a little. I forget how he does it. He says Hayward is dead at his beach house in the garage. And then he brings out a brandy from 1893, and everyone's oohs and ahs, and the festivities commence.
Okay, first, did you notice that the guy with the turtleneck that she kisses?
Yes, I didn't notice him closely, but
yeah, it was kind of, yeah, it's like it's a close up of her kissing him. Well, he kisses her on the cheek, but it like he just seems enthralled with her, and then it cuts to Jackie Cooper like smiling, yeah. It's kind of a weird little like. At first, I was like, is she sleeping around with this guy?
Interesting.
But I started to say was Lucille Meredith. She has the hair that comes up and big. The older lady with a sort of longer nose. She looks so familiar. She was in Matlock and Charlie's Angels, but I don't know what I would have seen her in, except for maybe this. But I recognize her from the past, from other shows. Mm-hmm. But she was in Murder, She Wrote, too, so it's probably Barnaby Jones and all that.
Maybe was she a regular on Murder, She Wrote? She
was a regular on Matlock. She was Judge Irene Sawyer.
Okay. Maybe you recognize her from that. Did you watch Matlock?
Yeah. I really like Matlock.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Okay, yeah.
All right, Paul, well, let's move on to one of my all-time favorite scenes. Columbo's at the dentist. He's not super into it. You can tell he's kind of like barely putting up with his dental procedures. And there is an excellent opera song playing on the radio. It's La Donna e Mobile, which means, I think it's Women Are Fickle. It's sung by Pavarotti. I don't know if we can play this on our podcast, Paul.
You could send a link or something, right?
Yeah, we could put the link somewhere. Yeah, if you Google this song, La Donna e Mobile, from Rigoletto, that's the opera, it's such a fun opera song. It gets stuck in my head probably like 2 or 3 days out of the week. This song like pops up and is floating around in my head. I'm not kidding. I really love this song. Anyhow, I don't know if we can play it, but
this guy is great, Mario Gallo.
Yeah, the dentist.
He's so funny. Mm-hmm. He is just so funny. He does not stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him from Raging Bull, but he was in Raging Bull as one of the De Niro's coaches.
Oh, interesting.
And he has a little humor in I remember in Raging Bull, but he's so good in this.
Yeah.
He's just like, he's in the top, like in Raging Bull, unless you're Pesci or De Niro or Kathy Moriarty, and there's a few other actors, but you're kind of in the background.
Yeah.
But here, this guy gets to shine, and it's just so funny. Just Peter Fox tortures.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
He keeps doing it. It's worth this scene.
Absolutely. And this is the next T-shirt that someone needs to make. He says, "Take my advice, Lieutenant. Change your name and don't bite down on anything hard."
You know the guy who sold me the bourbon? He looks like this guy a little bit.
Really?
Louis, yeah. I'll tell him that. See what he says. He'll probably disagree with me.
Get him to pose for a T-shirt.
He's younger looking. Okay. But he's probably he's probably similar in age to this guy. I think Louis takes care of himself. This guy looks like he maybe sometimes doesn't. Like maybe he smokes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, anyhow, I love this scene. And this is the moment where Columbo hears on the radio that Hayward has been shot. He's like, I got to get out of here. So that sort of takes us back to the beach house, back to the scene of the crime. And, I just want to point out one little trivia. The dentist says, when people think of Italians, so they think of, he says something like...
Monsters?
Yeah. He's saying like, you're Italian. Everyone's going to think that you're behind this.
The mob did.
But he says that, yeah, he says that, you're Italian, you're a cop, I'm Italian, I'm a dentist. Cavelli is a tenor, but Cavelli, I'm not sure who he's referencing. I think so. The singer of this song is Pavarotti, I'm pretty sure. So Cavelli, he mentions Cavelli.
Mm-hmm.
Cavelli is not a tenor. He wrote operas in like the 1600s, but he did not write this opera, Rigoletta.
Mm-hmm.
This opera was written by Giuseppe Verdi.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So, anyhow, I just had to clarify that. I was like, oh, who's Cavelli? Is that the singer? And now I'm pretty sure I don't know why he says Cavelli, but.
Yeah, Dad had a lot of Pavarotti. I remember I used to listen to Dad's cassettes, Pavarotti cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
Such beautiful stuff.
Yeah. So good. Okay, enough of opera. Back to the beach house, scene of the crime. And if you look closely at Columbo arriving and sort of the alleyway here, you can kind of get a feel for the neighborhood. And if you're really curious, like, is it really filmed at that road I was talking about? Anyhow, there's some good exterior shots here. The area is swarming with cops and reporters, and the commissioners there, and the coroners are there, and lots of neighbors are out in the street. And Columbo finally shows up. Did you recognize the commissioner, Paul?
No. I mean, he looked kind of familiar, but I don't know from what.
So he was in Any Old Port in a Storm. He was one of the wine dudes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, now I do. For a second, I thought you meant the guys at the restaurant, the sommelier or whatever the guys, the waiter and the.
Oh yeah, no, not that guy.
Okay, gotcha.
No,
sorry.
No, yeah, the
yeah.
wine guy.
No, I recognize him. Yeah.
He plays a very different person in this episode. He plays a sort of rushed, somewhat bossy, arrogant kind of guy.
It's kind of weird. There's something missing in the communication, which I think it's supposed to be between him and Columbo. But there's something with his delivery, not Columbo's, that's a little off to me. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, he just comes across, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's a little bit one-dimensional, like we were talking about with Harry Stone. Yeah, and he's a little irritated. I don't know. I thought he did okay.
Well, it's like when Columbo keeps coming back up to him, and he at first he's like, "Get over here, Columbo," and he's talking, and then Columbo will say something, and it's almost like he doesn't really register what Columbo's saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone that like on it, he's there because this politician was supposedly shot.
Mm-hmm.
There's the visceral. There's something there that I feel like he would have pounced harder on Columbo for leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Or something, because there's even like an ad lib, not an ad lib. There's even like a ADR, additional dialogue from him at the end where he says, "Where'd he go?" Like he says one line, and then there's like, "Where'd he go?" And the two don't mix. Like what he just said before he said, "Where did Columbo go?" or whatever he said is in opposing behavior towards Columbo, like his physical behavior to him. That's just my 2 cents on that little thing. I like that. I like that thing where Columbo keeps wandering off, and I'll be right back. And then, this is really good, but I kept taken out of it a little bit because of sort of this weird pause that he would have towards Columbo.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that now. Like, it's supposed to be like a really powerful man who is really sharp and on it, and I mean, I guess I could see that.
Yeah, I just feel like he would have either said something to him or like got mad at him, sort of, something. Mm-hmm. I'm in charge. Get your ass over here. Maybe not that, but just something where it's almost like he didn't know what the cue was to react to that. Like there's no reaction to what he's saying, what Columbo says to him. Mm-hmm. He just pauses at him as if nothing, and then he goes back to talking. And so it's kind of it just seems awkward.
Yeah, no, I could see that. And that's probably, partly that's like Columbo has to do his thing in this scene. So he has to like be able to kind of blow off the commissioner and wander off. And that leaves the commissioner kind of at a loss. Like he can't really behave like you would maybe expect him to behave because Columbo's got to be Columbo for the show to progress the way we want it to.
Yeah, I just feel like there would be an internal recognition instead. It seems more blank than something going on inside him, his reaction to that. It just seems blank.
Yeah, right.
He didn't have to say anything,
Yeah. Well, I do want to point out a little tidbit that one of our listeners, Darren, emailed us about a little time back, that the radio chatter you can hear in the background is the same radio chatter that comes up in several other episodes.
That's the one. I thought that might be the one because it was kind of long. It was really good.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, it. Yeah, if you watch these a lot, which I do, you might start to notice that. But it does add a nice flavor to the show. So thank you, Darren, for that little bit of trivia there. Yeah, so Columbo is, he's on the scene. He's a little bit behind everybody else, and it takes him a while to realize that Harry Stone is the victim, not Hayward. and he finally realizes that, and then he starts, checking things out, feels the temperature of the car, looks at Harry's watch, finds the light switch in the garage. He climbs in the back of the coroner's wagon, checks out Harry Stone's outfit.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Wait, makes him stop.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he's just kind of standing and thinking in this garage. It's kind of fun to watch him slowly looking and thinking in this scene.
Mm-hmm. Looking at the other police officers, seeing their reaction. Mm-hmm. The police officer that he addressed when he first walked up, the guy with the glasses, and then he says something to him. I forget what he says, and then he also asks him, "Is that light? When did that light? That's the broken light. That light's not working, right?" That actor, his name is Davis Roberts. He's got the mustache, the glasses, African American guy. Mm-hmm. He's done so much stuff.
Oh.
He started acting in the 40s, probably before that. He was in Sanford and Son. He played this, I think it's Dr. Caldwell, is that right? And he plays this doctor who smokes, and he says whether or not you have whiplash. So Fred Sanford wants to get money from someone claiming he has whiplash. So he just hired this guy, Dr. Caldwell, but he comes in smoking a cigarette and says, "How can you tell if my pop has whiplash?" And he asks Fred Sanford, "Do you have whiplash?" "Yep, he's got whiplash." So he reprised that role 3 times, but he had lots of small parts. He even had a part in Markham, the Ray Milland TV series.
Ah,
yeah, way back when, and he had a line. It was in an episode called something where Ray Milland goes after diamond thieves to Mozambique. The 2 last films he did, 2 really cool films. One was called To Sleep with Anger by Charles Burnett. Charles Burnett is a one-of-a-kind filmmaker out here in Los Angeles. I think he's out here in Los Angeles. And he had a big part in that, Danny Glover. But he also, in the last film he was credited with, it's called The Gifted. And I had heard about The Gifted through an employee at Videotech, as she wrote a review of this movie called The Gifted. Mm-hmm. She wrote it in this magazine called Lunchmeat. She's a person who works at Videotech. Her name, I can't remember her name offhand. Really knowledgeable, nice person. And her name is
Luce Tomlin Brenner,
who works at Videotech. But so she wrote this review, and this is
The Gifted.
The Gifted. This is Davis, and she said this film is not available anymore. And this is all about VHS. This Lunchmeat magazine.
Oh.
So anyway, I'd heard about this movie a long time ago, and I found out he was in it. Davis Roberts is in it, but he's listed with his name, with a character name. But they must have cut his scene, because you see his face at church, but then that's it. Mm-hmm. But this movie was written by Audrey King Lewis. She did one movie. She wrote, directed this film. She produced this film, and it actually has stuff based on her life. I read her autobiography. She published an autobiography, and if I read you the summary of the movie, you would not guess that it has stuff based on our life. Psychic descendants of an African tribe reunite to save Earth 5,000 years ago. Again, certain members of the Dogon tribe in West Africa were granted psychic powers by good aliens to counterbalance the effects of Ogo, a bad alien intent on taking over Earth. Anyway, it has all this ancestor stuff in it that's based on her life. maybe not the alien stuff, but the other stuff that's throughout the film, and you can watch it for free on YouTube. I watched it. It's an independent film. She only made one movie. I think she directed some other stuff, but I think that was her own main feature that she wrote, directed, produced. And, as an African-American woman, it's really like pretty cool. It's from 1993, so the music, sounds like that. But there is this one song, a gospel song this guy sings. It's so beautiful. But it was a passion project that just I really dig.
Cool.
And so Davis Roberts, a very interesting, smaller role actor, I would say, but he's in 2 Columbos.
And we're going to link, this will all be linked in our show notes too. So if you want to see the movies and the books that we chat about, you can check out our show notes. And also we often mention them in our Instagram posts too.
Yeah. He was in a series called The Sophisticated Gents. He played Perkins. That one sounded cool. But the other Columbo, he's in a ton of stuff. The other Columbo was
it says he's uncredited in this Columbo.
Yeah. But he had lines. Publish or Perish, sorry. He plays Kramer in Publish or Perish.
Okay. Cool. Let's look for him.
Yeah, I wanted to see some more of his stuff because the Sanford and Son thing, he was hilarious. And then seeing him in the Markham thing from way back when, I just love that. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it's great.
His scene is with Ray Milland.
Ray Milland keeps coming up.
Yeah.
We keep coming back to Ray.
Ray Milland.
All right, let's go check in with Hayward, Paul.
Okay, let's do it.
It's been a little while here, and we cut back to the excellent party scene. Everyone's enjoying the brandy now. He's poured out the brandy.
Where's your brandy, Liz? Aren't you going to start that next?
Yeah, I got a bottle of it right here. No, I'm still working on the bourbon here. And I won't go over all the costumes, but there is a really beautiful baby blue dress with like this cool strappy back that's really prominent. And Columbo shows up to the party, and Victoria, Mrs. Hayward, will not let him in. She's like, go around to the back, fix yourself a piece of cake. So that's our first cake reference. Or I guess second, because we see the cake. And then she's talking about the cake. Anyhow, Columbo is finally able to push past her, get into the house, and talk to Mr. Hayward. And he breaks the news to Nelson that Harry Stone has been shot and killed at the beach house. And then Hayward has his big display of emotion here. He says, Harry Stone is dead. Everyone, it's like almost like one of those moments where the needle scratches off the record and the party stops.
He's pretty loud.
He's pretty loud. Everyone gets quiet and gathers around and hears the news. And so then Vicky is left to kind of send everybody home. And Nelson says something else, like it wasn't just my campaign manager, he was a close personal friend. It's like very much he's like putting on this show.
Things not to say.
Yeah, exactly. And I
just saw him like 2 minutes ago, and
yeah, I just saw him tonight.
Well, I haven't seen him since 2:00, and I just saw him at 2:00.
Oh yeah, he's already getting himself into trouble here right away. He admits that he knew that Stone was going to go to the beach house. Yeah. And this is just one more example of Hayward being not such a great guy, because he's clearly like, this is going to ruin his wife's surprise party, right? He's planned this whole thing for his wife, knowing that this murder is going to come and shut the whole thing down. It's like, it's just another jerk thing to do. I mean, not that a party is more important than human life, but it's like he never really won.
Perfect alibi, Liz. And she's great, Vicky, Joanne Linville. When she first answers the door, she totally ignores him and stays that way, she was so believable.
Yeah, she's awesome. So the party ends, and it's just Vicky again, shaking the ice cubes in her glass and sipping on something. And this is another little tidbit from someone who wrote from Darren, who says Joanne Linville is so great. My second favorite Columbo drinker, next to Ruth Stafford.
Who's Ruth Stafford?
You haven't seen this one yet, but Ruth Stafford is a heavy drinker in Exercise and Fatality. So
cool.
she does an excellent job. Anyhow, Darren, I would have to agree that Vicky and Ruth are the best drinkers.
Yeah. Joanne was great. And the spinning around, and she sticks her tongue out when she pours the drink. The first time you see her, I mean she studied under Stella Adler, and she also studied under Anejda. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name, but she wrote a book about acting, and she meant to talk about that other teacher just as much. She was also a moderator at the Actors Studio. One of the few moderators who would.
Oh, Joanne Linville was?
Yeah, who would conduct the classes and stuff. And her ex-husband, Mark Rydell, he was one of the moderators at the West Coast Actors Studio as well.
Oh, wow.
She was in a Kim Stanley movie called The Goddess, and it was written by Patty Chayefsky, who I love. And unfortunately, her scene, she plays a character called Joanna, and she's an alcoholic in that too.
Interesting.
They in the script, she's got all this dialogue with Kim Stanley, the main character who plays the goddess, but they didn't keep it in the final cut. I don't know if they filmed it, if they changed it. There's a lot of dialogue, like really good dialogue, that's in the script, like two screenwriters talking about there's no good American movies. The only good movies are Open City and Shoeshine. It's like stuff that would have cemented this film to be even stronger. It's not a bad film. It's got a lot of great acting, but it's interesting. So yeah, I watched a little bit about a little work from her, and yeah, I loved all these scenes with her.
Yeah, she was awesome. And I just have to point out, she's got some pretty cool pajamas on, and apparently she wears all of her jewelry to bed because she's got like tons of gold bracelets and rings and she's wearing everything.
Oh, right, when he's in the robe.
And so Nelson's in his emerald green bathrobe, and she's in her silky peach pajamas. This is kind of an important scene in terms of just learning about their relationship. And she shares, she knows how much she was shocked by Nelson's reaction to the death of his campaign manager because she knows how much he hated him. She also makes a comment like, "Oh, you can't sneak out tonight because there's a cop at the door." So we know she suspects him of having an affair. And then he's able to convince her otherwise. He's like, there's nobody else. I never wanted to lose you. And then he's so slimy. There's just a lot of sliminess. He says, "Hey, I've got a great idea. Why don't you come with me on my next tour?" And she's like, "No, I hate this. I'll be all alone." He's like, "Oh, you could bring your secretary. What's her name?" She's like, "Linda?" "Yes, bring Linda." So he gets her to come and bring his mistress. And he gets her back on his side in this moment.
That's like a prescription murder. Let's go. We'll go on a honeymoon together, and we'll, remember how excited she becomes. She knows he's having the affair, but then she gets he cons her into that. Same kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good callback, Paul. It's kind of sad. It's like, gosh, how could you I don't know. I guess they're just desperate, right? Like they don't want to listen to that little voice, or like desperate for this relationship to be solid and to work. And
it obviously has happened a lot in the world, or else it wouldn't sort of ring true.
Yeah.
The goddess, the Patty Chayefsky script, it's about a girl they open up with when she's young, and she overhears her mom telling her brother and his wife, "I can't have this baby. I can't take care of this child. You can take care of her. I'm too young. I still want to go out and meet people," because the husband's no longer in the picture. The dad's no longer in the picture. But she sort of repeats this. She hears her mom thinking bad of her, not wanting her. And so her whole life, she has this struggle thinking people don't want her, and she wants to become a big actress. But you see this cycle of behavior. I was just talking to St. John about that, sort of these cycles that we do. Like I read Jackie Cooper's the autobiography of Jackie Cooper with Dick Kleiner. Please Don't Shoot My Dog. I got to page 232, and hopefully we'll finish it. But it is really enjoyable. But one of his wives, he's had maybe 3 wives. Hildy was a New York actress who was very much independent thinker and person, and that's why they sort of didn't work in a lot of ways. They are very different, but I think it was her. What's cool about that book is he has other people's voices throughout it, so it'll change font and it'll be like, co-stars or a stepson or uncle or somebody. There's only one person who wouldn't talk, who they reached out to. Hildy, I think it was Hildy, his second wife, said Jackie was always looking for her mom, something like that. So he was raised by his mom and his grandmother, but his dad was never in the picture, or at least he thought. He wasn't sure if this uncle was his dad or this other guy. So in terms of her, that kind of behavior, it's sort of like, it's easy to see because she's stuck in this traditional role. Divorce is looked down upon. He's huge, politician, getting bigger. It's like we read it all the time, the sort of behavior of people staying, probably not really liking what their spouse is doing, or they go along with it and get caught up in, certain crimes and stuff. It seems like it's still very common.
Yeah.
But it is unfortunate that she knows it, but then she's easily swayed back into it. Or maybe she's just like, what am I going to do? Should I divorce him?
Right. I mean, she probably didn't have a ton of options. Yeah. Wow, we got deep there, Paul. We got a little heavy.
I couldn't help. Sorry.
No,
sorry, everybody.
Good.
I couldn't help but think of Jackie Cooper talking about some of the things he talks about. He's pretty uncensored in some ways.
Yeah, I'm so.
There's some moments where I'm like,
you got me curious now. I want to check this out and learn more about him. This uncensored tell-all.
Did you know he was a child actor?
No.
Yeah, he was in Little Rascals.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was in the original The Champ. Remember the Ricky Schroeder, John Voight, The Champ? Well, there was an original version that he did with Barry. He did several films with this guy, Treasure Island.
Wow. And
this guy was so selfish. He said he's a kid and he's just seeing all this crap. I think it was Skippy. Everybody knew who he was. So Skippy won the best director award. And the reason he calls this book, Please Don't Shoot My Dog, is that in order to get him to cry for that movie, they said, we're going to shoot your dog.
Oh my God.
They would do stuff like that to him. And he talks about it in the book.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And he's like, then he's like, because he starts to learn, they will try and trick him.
Yeah.
So they first they're going to call the cops on him. And they do all this. It was
that is so messed up.
It was like, there was no rules. Even now,
no
that
protections for kids.
People still abuse these things, but back then it was off the hook.
Wow.
As you could imagine. I mean, I think it's still been off the hook for sure. I'm sure it still continues that way in some corners. But yeah, no. Jackie Cooper's. Yeah, he dishes on Bing Crosby because Bing Crosby used to come over to his house. How cold he was, how jealous he would get of him when he was going to sing a song that he was going to sing. And he's a little kid. I was just like,
oh my God.
I was like, whoa.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, we'll definitely link to that autobiography in our show notes, too. That sounds like a must-read.
A must-read book of the year.
Book of the year for Hollywood, vintage Hollywood gossip.
The autobiography of Jackie Cooper.
Yes.
Not Jackie Coogan, Jackie Cooper.
right. Well, let's move on. Let's get back into this campaign, Paul. We got a campaign to run here. We're back at headquarters. Nelson is clearly returning from a trip that Vicky and Linda with him on. He's back at his campaign headquarters office, and there's a bunch of people there to greet him and cheer for him. There's, I think there's some photographers and campaign workers, and Columbo's there to talk with him. And Hayward sends Vicky home, and he sends Linda into his office. He's like, Linda, go into my office and wait for me. I have my agenda or schedule in there. And Columbo's catching all of this, of course. Like, he's observing Linda going into the office, and Nelson says, I'll be with you in a little bit, Columbo. So then Nelson is in his office with Linda. There's lots of smooching going on, and Columbo's just on the other side of the door waiting for Nelson. A employee from Chadwick's, the tailor, shows up with a new sport coat for Nelson that's identical to the sport coat that Stone was wearing when he was killed. Columbo notices that too. Mm-hmm. I just want to point out that the tailor, errand runner is wearing a fabulous blue velvet sport coat. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So finally Columbo gets a chance to talk with Nelson Hayward in his office. And this is our first really significant back and forth between Columbo and Hayward. And Columbo's trying to give Hayward an update on these little inconsistencies that he's noticing, like the fact that the garage was dark, and why were the shots fired from the left side of the garage or the right side? I forget what he said. Anyhow, there's just these weird things, and this is just a really, I love this back and forth between the two of them. It was really fun to watch Columbo. It's always fun to watch Columbo really get under Hayward's skin and kind of irritate him. And Nelson makes another mistake in this scene because Columbo concludes, I don't think that you were the target. I think Stone was the target. And Nelson's like, what are you talking about? That's insane. And Columbo's like, well, I thought you'd be... Columbo's like, I thought you'd be relieved. And that just stops Nelson in his tracks. He's like, well, he's like, well, I just, he doesn't really know how to respond there.
He's doing really good in terms of, oh yeah, sure, come on, yeah, let's see, what do you got? But when they start offering up the information, that's when you're just like,
to yourself,
dude, don't do it. Don't.
Call your lawyer.
He's gonna know. I want to say one thing. Did you recognize the secretary?
No.
So that's Katie Seagal. She was in Married with Children, Futurama.
Oh my gosh.
She's the mom in Married with Children. She's she's in Shameless. Her dad directed this episode. So she's in Sons of Anarchy. Really cool stuff. But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I totally know who you're talking about. And I definitely did not recognize her. I thought she did a good job as secretary.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was like, I'll sign for it.
Yeah.
She didn't have a ton of lines. But...
Great career. She was in Tales from the Crypt. I wonder if she was in that Tales from the Crypt.
Uh-oh. You're going to have to look into that.
To be continued.
Paul.
No, she's awesome. She's such an interesting performer.
That's so cool. Yeah, I totally did not recognize her. She's very young in this. And then I knew her later in Married with Children when she was, I don't know, 10 or 20 years older maybe. So basically Nelson doesn't keep his cool with Columbo. He's very flustered after Columbo leaves. And it just makes him, I don't know, I love that little flavor for the villain, just to see Columbo get a little bit of a win, you're like, rooting for Columbo.
Sometimes I'm rooting for the villain because I want him to trip up Columbo, but in this one there is some cool there are some cool moments where it's like, oh yeah, we'll get to that, but where he kind of like, you didn't get me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Cassavetes had a ton of that, but
Oh, yeah.
But Jackie Cooper's got some.
Okay, you have to point those out. All right, Paul, let's go shopping.
All right. Where are you taking me?
I found the location of the exterior shots of the next scene is at the Taylors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the interior was filmed at the studio, but there is a quick exterior shot that was filmed at, it was called Bullock's Fashion Square. And this opened in 1962 in Sherman Oaks. It was renamed as Sherman Oaks Fashion Square a few years after that. Bullock's was a popular department store. It was around until like 1995. Then they were basically operated as Macy's. And the Westfield Group purchased or got half interest, this is all from Wikipedia, in the shopping center in 2002. And they renamed it Westfield Shopping Town Fashion Square in 2003. Then it just became Westfield Fashion Square starting in 2005. So this shopping center still exists. I'm sure it looks a bit different. It's in Sherman Oaks. It's been in Malcolm in the Middle, The Office, Clueless, and The Ellen DeGeneres Show. You know, I really like to find out where things happened.
Yeah.
But the main, the juicy part of this scene is inside the Taylor's office where Columbo meets the Taylor Chadwick, played by Vito Scotti, who we've seen in multiple other Columbos.
He's great.
He's so good. He plays a good snob, I will say. Because he's the...
oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
He's the maitre d' in the last episode, right? So he's also very, very snotty in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And
he does these pauses, like, what did he just say?
When Columbo just walks into the Taylors, Chadwick is on the phone, like, "Oh, you're leaving for Monaco tomorrow. Have a great time." I'm doing a horrible accent there, but like you just hear his little conversations with the people living these very, fancy lives.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is just a great little scene where Columbo wants to get this jacket and he wants to get the exact material that Nelson Hayward has. And he learns that Hayward ordered the jacket 10 days ago. So well before it was ruined by the murder.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more fuel for Columbo's fire. Was there anything else you want to say about this scene, Paul? Or
no, the Vito Scott is really funny. Great, like, movement while Columbo's talking, just like, touching his jacket and looking around, and like he can't deal with this guy. He can't deal with Columbo anymore. It's like, please leave my store. Just great actor, really comedic and smart. Like knowing that he has to, to respond to everything he's saying in a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
Really talented.
Yeah. He was a little gem. He's one of those gems from this series for sure. Okay, so now we move on. We're going to check in on Linda. Columbo wants to have a few words with Linda Johnson, Vicky's secretary, the mistress. And we see that Linda is at a speech that Mrs. Hayward is giving.
Cake.
Yes.
Champagne, Liz.
Cake, champagne.
Costumes. And there's the A. The A is back.
Oh my gosh, you remember the A?
Yeah.
Okay,
Tisha is
listener.
wearing the A sweater.
Yes. Okay, so I went down this rabbit hole in Requiem for a Falling Star because Nora Chandler is wearing this sweater that has the letter A on it. It's a
Grady Hunt.
Yep, Grady Hunt. And now Linda Johnson is wearing a red dress that has a bunch of letter A's on it. And again, I spent like 30 minutes trying to find this outfit. I couldn't find it. I was looking like, who were the major designers? What were the major department stores? I don't know. This was probably maybe like a department store thing. I don't know. But it's very cool.
University of Alabama. Just kidding. It has the colors, but
Oh my gosh, Paul! Why didn't I Google that?
it has the
That's
colors.
totally what this
But
is.
it would be AL, not A. I think you're right with the department. Yeah, no, they market the heck out of that stuff.
Yeah,
Columbo would be sued if they found out.
that's true. That's very true. Yeah, so Linda looks great. Red sweater dress with all the little A's. Vicky looks great too. She's got on a pretty white sweater dress and this big gold watch, like a stopwatch kind of thing, and hanging on a chain. This was Grady Hunt again, like you said, and Linda starts serving up the cake that says the cake icing says "Good luck, senior citizens." She starts cutting into it. She offers a piece to Columbo, and he's like, "Actually, can I have a word with you about the murder?" And he makes her very uncomfortable. He asks her these questions that have sort of double meaning, like, "I can see that's what attracted you to him as a candidate." And she reveals a little bit more than she probably wanted to, because she admits that she finds Harry Stone crude and aggressive, I think are the words she uses. And she finds Nelson Hayward very thoughtful and considerate. So that's kind of all I had on that scene. Should we go for a drive, Paul?
Let's do it. Let's jump in.
Let's do it. This apparently was one of the scenes that was added to get this show to be a bit longer, although Paul and I are not sure how long it actually was. But Columbo's on the road. He gets pulled over in a routine traffic stop, and there's a little bit of comic relief here. The cops are like,
yeah, just pull over, sir.
They're like, "It appears you're missing a windshield wiper." "Oh, it must have come off in the car wash."
He doesn't want to deal with that stuff, man. Columbo's like, "I'm not. I'll get it done, sure."
Yeah, he's too busy for these things.
Yeah. I can be that way. I totally get that. There's more pressing things.
He does this in a later episode too. I believe it's Try and Catch Me. Maybe I'm wrong. But he basically he's like an overdue, I can't remember which episode it was.
Is that the one where he has to take the driving school again? The driving test?
Yeah, that's what I can't remember if it's that episode, but yeah.
I can't wait to get to that, because that driving instructor, that was one of the first times I saw it since we've lived in this place in Pasadena. Mm-hmm. But I think I remember seeing it before. I mean, I know I saw Columbo when we were kids and at different times over the years, but I remember seeing that driving instructor at some point. I think it was the last 15 years, and I was thinking, this guy is so good. He is so believable.
Oh, that guy.
And the scene is so funny because he can't stand Columbo's driving.
Right.
And so I can't wait to get to that. But I just remember that was one of the first times, because just thinking of Columbo, I didn't think too much about it other than that Dad liked it and that I enjoyed it and it was unique. But that was the first time where I started, because I've always thought of actors like Mickey Rourke's early stuff, and like Year of the Dragon or Body Heat. Peter Sarsgaard's a new actor that I haven't seen anything he's done recently, but there a lot of his early stuff and probably new stuff too. He's very, very daring in what he does, and he's always really good in a lot of what he does. But that guy in this, it blew my mind, because I was like, they knew to cast him to make the scene funny, but he's so serious and can't stand the situation that he's in. So that was one of the first times I've thought about acting in that way, in a different kind of context, not just like, oh, Robert De Niro. It was very different, So yeah, I can't wait to get to that.
Yeah.
But that's the one you were talking about. That's the
no.
Oh.
But it's always, that scene is always worth talking about because it's amazing. That's coming up. That's coming up, I think, in this.
Can't wait.
I don't know. I don't want to misspeak.
Yeah.
That is a different. I was thinking about a later episode where Columbo is overdue for his shooting permit or something. He needs to go out to the firing range, and he just doesn't have time for that, and he ends up paying somebody or calling in a favor and having someone go and do it for him.
Oh, whoa. I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think that's from not Try and Catch Me. It's from an episode that has the woman from Psycho in it. What is her name?
Oh, Janet Leigh?
Yeah.
Or the one who was the...
Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh?
No, Janet Leigh.
Jimmy Lee Curtis's mom? Okay. Not the other actress that not Ann Baxter. Who was the one in the recent episode we saw?
Oh, Vivian?
She was in Psycho. Yeah, the one from the beauty mark, the makeup.
Yeah, not her.
Yeah, she was in Psycho and Psycho 2 as well. Okay, yeah, Janet Leigh.
Okay, anyhow, we went down a rabbit hole there. Back to this episode. We're back. Okay. All right, the drive is over, and now we're going to head back to the beach. Columbo is back at the beach house, only now he's driving a tow truck from Shelley's beach gas station or something like that. And he's timing himself. He's timing how long it takes to drive the tow truck from the beach house to the nearest telephone. And it looks like, so this location is on the Columbo file map that we talk about. And it looks like there's still a gas station there. I'm sure it looks really different now. But it's in Malibu on Pacific Coast Highway 1. And so Columbo gives the guy a little cash as a thank you for letting him drive the tow truck. The mechanic is dealing with those issues that his car, basically the mechanic is dealing with the fix-it ticket or whatever that Columbo got. And he asks Columbo if he's investigating the murder that took place up the road. And the mechanic says that, it's our luck, we actually closed early that night.
Mm-hmm.
So even that phone was not available to the supposed murderer. So according to the police station, the murderer called in like right after the murder happened at 9:20, and then
excuse me, why couldn't he check his phone records like he had done in the previous episode, Jackie Cooper's?
Oh, right. Like if there was a call from his regular house to the station?
Yeah, because that's something that Columbo would look into. Didn't he do that in the one we were just trying to think of?
Yeah. Well, he did that in Double Shock.
Mm-hmm.
He saw that the twins were calling each other a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Maybe he needed a search warrant and he couldn't quite...
Or time. Maybe there's time on that kind of thing. And this one's sort of like day after day. It's like one day passes. Like he's working on one clue at a time, one beat at a time.
Yeah, could be.
But because... he always zeroes in on certain things.
Yeah. Did you think that that Shelley, the mechanic, looked a little bit like Eddie, like a young Eddie Van Halen?
He did. Yeah.
I was like, this guy looks familiar. Who is it?
Yeah, I like that guy. He was good. He was very simple and just believable.
Yeah.
Lovely but Lethal. That was the name of that one.
Lovely but Lethal?
With Vera Miles. Yeah.
Vera Miles. Right. Oh, and I remember the first time I watched this with Mom and Dad, I just have to share, I was like, what are they talking about? What's a counter check? Because Columbo doesn't have enough cash.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a credit card, and he doesn't have a checkbook. So he basically has no way to pay this mechanic. And he's like, do you have a counter check? I was like, Dad, what is a counter check? So apparently you used to just be able to like put whatever you wanted on a blank check that wasn't connected to you, just make up anything, and like people would accept that. So obviously we don't do that anymore. I mean I don't even think there's many places you can pay with a check anymore, but I just was like, that's crazy. You can just write whatever you want on there.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's how Columbo pays the mechanic, with a counter check. And I was going to take us back to Hayward's house, Paul.
I don't want to go.
Are you
there.
ready?
Can we go somewhere else?
How
about we take a drive? Jackie Cooper, he's going really fast. He's on the highway. It's late at night. He's driving from Los Angeles to, is it New York or Chicago? So he's driving. Mm-hmm. He opens up his book with this. He's driving with the roof down in a sports car. It's nighttime. He likes to drive at night because even though it's hot, it's much cooler. He doesn't like to fly, even though he becomes a pilot later on. But he's driving late at night, and he is in Arizona, maybe? Anyway, he sees this really bright light behind him, and he's like, what is that? And it's getting closer to him, and it's not a car. It's in the field. and getting closer and closer and closer, and it's the train. And he's like, you know what? I want to go as fast as this train's going. So he tries to outrace the train.
Oh my
and
gosh.
his sports car starts to mess up. And so he's like, great, now I'm going to have to go get a mechanic because he goes too fast. He ruptures something with it on top of the hood. So the hood gets messed up somehow. So he goes into this small town. Maybe it's not that small. I can't remember. He goes in there. He's like, where am I going to find a hood mechanic, in this town? He sees a sign, I fix hoods or something like that. Very specific. He goes to the guy, and the guy's looking at him. He's like, oh, yeah, he recognizes me, Jackie Cooper, the actor. The guy keeps looking at him, and he's waiting for it, can I have the autograph, something like that. Mm-hmm. And the guy says, I'm your dad's roommate.
What?
And it's his dad. It's his dad's roommate, and he hasn't seen his dad since he was a kid.
Whoa.
And he says, your dad always talks about you.
Oh my gosh, that's creepy.
While I'm fixing your car, why don't you...
I just got the chills, Paul. Ooh.
He's like, why don't you go to my apartment? It's right over there. He points to it. And Jackie decides, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to see this guy that I've never seen. He's never come by. And supposedly he was giving him money too. Jackie was from his movies and stuff. His mom would send it. His mom was a piano player, and they both did vaudeville together. His mom also taught music at the film studios, and they also did extra work. That's how he got picked. But it was really interesting opening for a book.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's really weird, cool. So anyway, let's go to where you want to go now, Liz.
Wait, but I thought you said he wasn't sure who his dad was, Jackie Cooper, growing up.
He had a suspicion. There's a point in the book where his uncle makes this bizarre call. His uncle was like a big movie director or producer, I think. Mm-hmm. He was the only guy that didn't want to help out with the book. He refused.
Oh, okay.
He didn't sound like the greatest guy.
Yeah.
They like a lot of negative stuff in there about him. But there's he's positive, a lot of positive stuff too. Jackie Cooper. About his uncle, but his uncle, he started thinking that maybe because his uncle took him under his wing, maybe that was really his dad, but that means his uncle would have slept with his mom.
Yeah.
So had cheated on the brother, that kind of thing. Her sister, his mom's sister was married to this guy.
Got it.
Yeah. His name was like Alan. He mentions him in the very beginning of the book. A
messy life.
Thanking people and that phone call made him question. So Taurog, Norman Taurog. He says there is one conspicuous omission, however, and that is Norman Tarang, who played such a vital role in the story. Every effort was made to seek Mr. Tarang's cooperation, but we were rebuffed totally. And this guy sounded like he passed away, a very lonely man. The other guy, his uncle. So he's pretty sure that it was that guy who was taking checks from. Yeah. And he met Jackie's mom. He used to work at a music store selling music notes to songs and stuff. And you'd come in there, and you could get lessons. And so his mom fell in love with him. She'd come in there because she knew how to play piano. And they actually used to play together, I believe, out and about. But it was a music store here in Los Angeles where his parents met. So, yeah, he never knew. He never knew for sure. He feels like people told him that it was this guy, but there's little things that confused him a little bit and made him question maybe my uncle.
Right.
And in the end, he didn't want to. He had this weird opportunity that sort of, if that's a true story with him driving in the middle of the night, which I imagine it is. So, all right. So where are we going to drive to, Liz? Where do you want to drive to? All
right. We're not chasing any trains.
Your question? Does that answer your question, though? Okay.
Yeah. That's wild. Okay. We're heading back to Hayward's house. Linda is showing up at Hayward's house. Hayward's there with like a whole entourage of campaign people.
And
Mike Lally.
Jen, take a drink. Maybe I should take a little sip of that.
And Linda has goes up to Hayward and says, I just saw that detective at the speech your wife was giving. He makes me very nervous. And then Columbo shows up. He's there with a big box under his arm. And Hayward's like, Columbo, where are you going? Are you looking for me?
He's walking up the stairs.
Yeah, he's heading up the stairs at Hayward's house, just making himself at home with the big box. And Columbo says, I don't want to bother you, but I do have a couple questions for you. And so Columbo brings up more of these inconsistencies. So he mentions the tailor. He also brings up the fact that there wasn't a phone nearby. And we can see that Nelson's wanting a drink. He's like, I'm going to make myself a drink while he's getting.
And by the way, you can see Mike Lally face up front. He's turned around. He kind of grabs his arm to carry him off, but when they turn around, you can see Mike Lally head on. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's there. He's there front and center for a moment, not for very long.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, so Nelson chats with Columbo a little bit, and then he's got to film a commercial. So Columbo goes outside to watch this commercial being filmed, and he sees Vicky's out there, Mrs. Hayward, and he wants to talk to her. He's like, can I ask you a question about Harry's clothes? Did he always dress this way? She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, everything is very durable, long-lasting, like extra strength or whatever. And she's like, yep, that was Harry. And then Columbo brings up the issue of this watch, that the watch that was found on Harry Stone's body doesn't match anything else that he was wearing. Mm-hmm. She agrees. She's like, yeah, I agree. That seems weird that he's wearing that watch. I think he would wear a sturdier watch, like the one that you. So basically, Columbo went to a department store with all of Harry's clothes and was like, what kind of watch would this kind of person want? And that's the watch that he showed her. He smashes it against the umbrella pole and it doesn't break. And she's like, yeah, I agree. He would wear that kind of watch. And so Nelson is trying to film a commercial, but you can tell he's super distracted by this conversation. And Columbo tells Vicky, like, I'd like to ask you a question, but I realize it's probably going to make you a little bit uncomfortable. She says, go ahead, ask. And we don't get to actually hear the question, but we see Vicky waving Nelson over as soon as he finishes filming. We can see that she's a little bit upset. And Columbo's gone at this point. And so Vicky's then tells Nelson, like, that lieutenant just asked me a bunch of questions. He says that, it wasn't a political murder, that whoever killed Harry wanted to kill Harry. And he asked if during my dinner party, if you left the room at any point. And she's like, what does this mean? So she is freaking out. And he's like, I don't know what it means. It doesn't mean anything. He's trying to make a name for himself, Don't let him get to you, like whatever that means. And he's like, don't worry, it's going to be okay. I'm going to make it okay. And and this is where Nelson decides to really up the ante here. He's like, he's gonna raise the stakes, and the music changes. We get this like cool, kind of like more ominous music.
Yes, I wanted to mention Dick Benedictus music, and I think it's that part. There's a guy on YouTube called Fishman, and he or she, I mean, it could be a guy, but they have all of this wonderful music. Columbo, stuff from Italian giallo films, stuff from other TV shows, just does a remarkable job. And the music in this is like 7 minutes long. It's like 6 minutes and 53 seconds or something. But yeah, that sort of horn echoey is wonderful. Like I remember when I was watching this and just thinking like, oh my gosh, I love that. And this guy did a lot, Dick Benedictus. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, I love the music throughout this episode, but it's a nice backdrop to the next scene where Nelson's like trying to make it right. He's crafting. He's back at the hotel suite. The exterior shot, by the way, it's Century Plaza Hotel in Century City. It's now called the Fairmont Century Plaza. And the interior, I'm sure, is in the studio. But Nelson is in the hotel suite. He's making his own kind of like ransom style threatening letter with cut out words and letters from the newspaper. And this is just the music in this scene. It's just him and then the music. And then the next day is the big day. It's election day. And Hayward now is in his office. He is putting together his little scheming kit again. He's got his briefcase, gets it out of the safe, and he gets the gun out of the briefcase. He puts the gun in his coat. And he asks Linda to come into his office, and he tells her he found this horrible note on his desk, and that the cops aren't going to believe that he found it. He convinces Linda to tell the cops that she found the note, and you can tell she's uncomfortable with this.
Yeah, she's like, "What?"
She's like, I mean, I care about you, but this feels really weird. But she does it. She calls the cops and she says she found the note. Oh, this is another instance of bourbon. I think this is like the 5th or the 6th time that someone drinks bourbon in this episode. He's having a bourbon in the morning on election day. He's like, I'm just nervous. Okay, so they go from campaign headquarters to the hotel suite. I'm not sure how they, it's interesting to think about like how they kind of decide when to go where when you're in a big campaign. Mm-hmm. But I guess it's time to go to the suite. Maybe he wants to relax a little bit. And the cops bring him there. They tell Columbo Nelson is checking into he's going to be in the suite now. And Columbo says, let me know if Nelson's ever alone in there. And they're like, oh, no, he won't be alone. And he's like, well, if he takes a shower or something, let me know. Columbo knows. This guy tells the sergeant he's going to make some private phone calls. And the sergeant tells Columbo. So Columbo's watching the phone in the adjoining hotel suite. And I'm kind of barreling through this part because it's kind of exciting, but interrupt me, Paul, if I'm...
No, you're all good. Go for it. Just barrel through.
There's a lot of... I feel like the plot here, it's not overly complicated, but there's like a lot of little things that have to happen for the whole show to kind of wrap up, for it to make sense. And so I'm telling a lot here, but he has his private time in the bedroom of the hotel suite. He actually has smuggled a gun into this suite on his own person with a silencer, and he puts a bullet hole through the patio door into the wall, and then he hides the bullet hole. He covers the patio door with the curtain, and he covers the bullet hole with the chair, and then he puts the gun in a briefcase that
was checked. Yeah,
that was checked, exactly. So Linda Johnson reported to the hotel suite with the briefcase, which was checked, and then she left with the briefcase, which wasn't checked on the way out, right? So the gun's gone.
Yeah.
Then he goes to vote with his wife. Oh, but at that moment, Vicky walks in right as Linda is leaving, and Vicky realizes okay, I see what's happening here. So she sort of sees, maybe she always knew, or maybe she just realizes in that moment that her husband is having an affair with Linda. But you can tell something dawns on her, and her feelings about him aren't super positive in that moment. Mm-hmm. And then after they come back from voting, this is the big grand finale here. It's another big party. Everyone's crammed into the hotel suite, and we see some of the folks from the birthday party, like Lucy, the woman that you said was in Matlock and Murder, She Wrote, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's at this party too. And Nelson sneaks away to the bedroom part of the hotel suite, and he lights a firecracker, and everyone hears it and everybody freaks out. So all the cops rush into the room. Linda rushes in, Vicky rushes in, and he's like, somebody just took a shot at me. And this is the big ending where Columbo finally gets into the room, and he's like, calm down, everybody calm down. The person who took the shot is still in the room, and we have our big gotcha moment and it's just so satisfying. Columbo explains how he came into the room after Nelson went to vote because Nelson wasn't making phone calls, and Columbo wanted to know what he was doing in the room, so he started snooping around, and he found the bullet hole, and he found the bullet, and he linked the bullet to the Stone murder, or the ballistics department already linked the bullet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good. It's like one of the best gotcha moments because you see that Nelson is actually like resigned to his fate. Nelson's like, oh, dang it, he really thought he was going to get away with this, and then in this moment, he realizes like, I am not getting away with this at all. And his wife is there, and her eyes are welling up with tears. And, his mistress is there. It's just like...
His eyes are welling up a little bit, too.
Are they? I didn't notice that.
He's perspiring. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you can see it.
And that's Candidate for Crime.
Yeah, I like the Robert Cairns, the two sergeants. Jay Varela played Sergeant Rojas, and the big guy is Sergeant Vernon, Robert Cairns. Mm-hmm. I like those guys.
I feel like we might see Sergeant Vernon in later episodes too. I don't remember for sure, but he's familiar.
You're probably right. Yeah, Jay Varela, I think ended up being a teacher. Yeah, he was in the Greenhouse Jungle. He was Grover.
Grover?
Yeah.
Was that one of the cops?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think when they go to the house and stuff.
Okay.
To like when they're opening the boxes and stuff.
Oh.
Box within a box within a box.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's in that scene.
Okay. Well, should we give this our rating here?
Yeah. What kind of rating, Liz? Should I go first?
I mean, I'll go first. I don't mind.
Go for it.
Oh, I do want to share, our patrons, Jen and Sam, weighed in on what they really liked about this episode. And Jen says, it's one of the best as far as character tension. Hayward in one scene actually quite effectively Columbo's Columbo. Enough to fluster the detective. And also, of course, set those alarm bells ringing. And she says, also, Mrs. Hayward's nipples, I can't. So Mrs. Hayward, one of her dresses is a little bit revealing. It's a little form-fitting. And then Sam says, this was one of my favorite Columbo gotcha moments. It was especially satisfying given how smug Nelson Hayward was throughout. I have to agree with both of them. Yeah, what were you going to say, Paul?
Yeah, same. And that scene where when Columbo goes to the house with the box and Nelson is like, I'm here as long as you want for anything you want. Just go tell me. Come on, you can tell me. You sit down. He pats him on the back real quick. It's very aggressive, but he's like, Lee Grant was a little bit that way too. She was just like, you think you're fooling people with your little act of whatever, but he's just like right in his face, like, and then he says, "Oh yeah, that coat." He doesn't let him trick him on that at all.
Yeah, he definitely has all the right things to say about that coat. Okay, so I'm going to say I love the ending again. It's so satisfying. The two of them play off each other really well. I love some of the views of the vintage Malibu, the party scenes. I always love having some female lead characters. I feel like a Columbo without at least one female lead character is just a little bit less interesting. And then the music, like we talked about, by Dick Benedictus is awesome. So I don't know. I mean, am I allowed to say 10 out of 10? Can there be?
Of course.
Is there such thing as a perfect episode?
That's a good. I was wondering that myself because I'm like, I hear the later episodes are not as good. I feel like if I have to see them all to judge them against themselves.
Yeah, this is my 10 out of 10 right here. This one.
Cool.
It's got it all the bells and whistles. I love it.
Yeah, this one's wonderful. It's so much. It's very big, and he tries different things, trying to figure it out, like driving the pickup truck, and then Nelson has one more thing at the end he wants to do. The surprise of he might kill his wife in the beginning.
Yeah, totally.
There's a lot of give and take between the two actors.
The B-roll that you mentioned.
Music. The camera work, the director, the Boris Sagal, he did a lot of stuff. And the writing, with all the writers there, I mean, that's difficult to sometimes. Sometimes if you have too many cooks in the kitchen, you lose something. Or you have to credit people who really didn't put too much on meat on the bones, or even the structure of it, and their name will still be on there because, politics in Hollywood and contractual obligations and that kind of thing. And I know there's lots of stuff that I think have lots of names that have done well. But yeah, the writing's really good. I would say 9.5, 9.5. Right. I didn't know about a 10 because I was just thinking I haven't seen enough to judge them against themselves. So,
right.
But it has so many things in it that I loved.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it too, Paul.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I was watching it again, but I was enjoying it, and I wanted to, but I was so tired last night, and my body was like, just go to bed, And today I just was running around. I was trying to finish the book, really, because I was trying to get into more of him, and then I have all these like floating ideas that I want to find out more about the people. Like
Roland Kibbe, I think his name was.
I believe he was blacklisted, or he named names, but he's which
one of the writers.
Yeah, Roland Kibbe, Kibbee.
But there's a guy named Victor S. Novoski who wrote a book called Naming Names, and this guy really did his research writing this book, and it's powerful in terms of looking at ways to look at when people did that. He touches so many different things, and I just barely touched that book. So it's a worthwhile book if you're interested in that kind of thing. But that guy's in there, a transcript of interview that he did with him, with one of the writers on here. And I want to say that he named names.
You mean name names like McCarthyism kind of name names?
Yeah.
Okay, during the McCarthy hearings.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, wow. And then you're saying he was blacklisted for naming names.
No, I think he wouldn't have been blacklisted because he named names. So I said that wrong, but I'm pretty sure he named names.
Okay.
As one of the people in there, because when I was reading the section on him, it was a transcript of the conversation.
Man, that's intense. I can't imagine. I mean, this is a total tangent, but I can't imagine what it would have been like to be around in that era. And I got to have some sympathy for people who just, I don't know, they felt like they had to, they felt like their livelihood depended on doing whatever they were being asked to do,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that was okay or that justifies it, but oh, what a horrible time in our society.
Yes. He talked to him a couple different times. Kibbe signed a Screenwriters Guild petition to nominate Albert Maltz for office in 1949, but when Wheeler asked him about it, he said, might have been on the basis, so he did, because the writer, Victor Novoski, said, when I asked him in 1975, sitting in his office trailer, which he shared with Burt Lancaster's production unit, whether he was a cooperative or an uncooperative witness, Kibbe said, I don't know what you'd call me. I don't think of myself as either. So that's something I have to revisit. But he was definitely involved in all that stuff going on. So
we can revisit him in a later one. I bet he's written something else, right?
Yeah, he wrote A Night in Casablanca, the Marx Brothers. He wrote Valdez is Coming, Veracruz. All these writers, Larry Cohen did the story, but they're all very, successful, I think, writers, with good careers. So it seems. But it's very interesting just to think of individuals like Arthur Miller is mentioned in that book, and he wrote The Crucible sort of like as a response in some ways to people responding to things like that. And Elia Kazan did On the Waterfront, kind of response, sort of defending his naming names or speaking, giving names, both opposing, views on that. And he goes deep into those two, and it's very interesting. And it's funny because Jackie Cooper, who was sort of didn't become really political in terms of thinking of choices of script and what the script is saying until he was in New York City when he was older. He was, in his 30s. He was after World War II. He was trying to think of what he could do next. And in New York, he met like Eli Wallach and the wife he had, a lot of really good Broadway actors, and he did Broadway. He did some Broadway stuff, but he wanted to learn. He wanted to relearn. He wanted to learn from them what he could bring to his tools. What he could learn from them, and he was open to that. Even though he was a big star in some ways, people recognized him. People recognized him or always gave him warmth, as opposed to like, oh, he's a star, because people grew up watching him, so they had something different, sort of a different point of view. But he said the only time he went into an audition where he felt really lousy and bad was with Arthur Miller. He said he was going to audition for him. He went into the room. Arthur Miller didn't get up, shake his hand, didn't do anything, didn't take his feet off the table. And I guess he came from a thing where he had to always listen to adults as a child actor, be respectful of adults as a child actor, as professional actor, all that stuff. He learned how to be a certain way, and so when he comes into Arthur Miller's office, to him this was the opposite of all he had learned in terms of how to behave with people. And he said it was a very he felt like, what's this guy's deal? Why is he treating me? Why is he so unforthcoming? Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Arthur Miller didn't even want to audition him, but had to. I don't know. Who knows? Mm-hmm. What's cool about his book is that he has other people speak about incidents. So he did a pilot with Barbara Stanwyck called Calhoun. It was like a pet project of his, and he got a writer to help him. And this writer helped him out for a long time. But the dialogue of the writer, he didn't think was very good. Some of the stuff was good. Anyway, he wanted to have other writers on. Anyway, long story short, that writer wrote a book called, I forget the name of it, but it came out and it smeared Jackie Cooper about this Calhoun project.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a bestseller, but Jackie Cooper even made fun of himself about that incident at the Writers Guild one year. But Calhoun was made, the pilot was made, but Universal would only let them use this original screenwriter's script. I think it's called the white script, which is the original, the one they approved. Then there's like a blue script, there's pink. They have all these different steps, and Universal or whoever is producing the thing has to sign off on certain things. Anyway, long story sort of short. It's like everybody's point of view is going to be a little different. Jackie seemed to want to put other people's points of views about situations that happened, so you have to give him some kind of credit for doing that.
Yeah, I think that's commendable.
Yeah. Should I give you some true false, and we'll stop talking about the?
Yeah. All right. So you give it a 9.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Summarize.
Yeah.
we'll link to some of these books and movies and things in our show notes.
That's why it's called Wandering with Columbo, Liz.
Right. We are wandering. Okay. Thank you
it might
for
be
wandering with
confusing
us.
And haphazard, but bear
You're
with
still
us.
listening.
Yeah,
we really appreciate you. Trivia questions.
Okay, trivia questions.
I'm going to get them all wrong.
No,
I always
not.
do, but I am going to do my darndest.
Let's see.
Okay. I'm not trying to get them wrong.
Sure.
It just happens.
So the first one I'd say is Jackie Cooper felt Peter Falk was one of the most unprofessional actors he ever worked with.
Why are you smiling so much? Okay, Paul is smiling while he says this. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's really hard because on the one hand, we know that Peter Falk was super professional all the time.
And like all the things I've been saying in this book.
And what? What's your next clue? Tell me.
He's always honest about, how he feels about people,
he's
he's worked with. Very forthcoming.
Okay, I'm going to say true.
Ding, ding, ding. It's true.
Oh my gosh, I got one right. This is amazing. Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
It blows his mind. And I think for him, it's like the power that maybe he would take his time coming in.
Yeah.
It's my show.
Right.
This kind of thing, like, without me, you have nothing.
Right.
And in truth, Peter Falk, we love his juice and all the stuff he brings to it. But maybe there's other things on set where he riled them a little bit,
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I think, we learned about that in the Shooting Columbo book, that he caused all kinds of delays. and got very upset about things like what was being written, and yeah, absolutely not by today's standards professional as an actor. But like you said, he brought all this awesomeness to his performance. It's just irresistible to fans like me and you, slowly molding you into a fan here.
Oh yeah, no, it's really so interesting.
You're a fan now. I mean, you were always a fan, but you weren't like a hardcore fan. But I think you're getting there. Okay, next question, Paul. Bring it on.
The next question is that Jackie Cooper contemplated the murder of his second wife, Hildy.
Whoa. That's heavy. I mean, I kind of feel like you wouldn't bring that up unless there was a kernel of truth to it. Okay, I'm going to say that's true.
Yep, it's true.
Yes. I mean, I'm saying yes because I got the question right. I'm not saying yes because he contemplated murdering his wife.
So he and Hildy, they were in Europe doing a race. He loved to race his car, going through the Alps and stuff. And it got really snowy in this one place. So they're doing this huge, famous race for real, like going up hills where it's icy. It just blows me. He had no chains.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so he says,
that's insane.
Hildy, myself, he says, I was angry and upset at everything at the road, the car, Hildy, myself. I turned back and saw that the car with Hildy in it was very slowly and steadily sliding toward the edge of the cliff in the turn behind us. And the drop could be 1,000 rocky feet.
Oh my gosh.
I was so frustrated and so mad that for perhaps 1.7 seconds, I actually considered letting the damn thing slip over the edge, carrying Hildy and all my problems with it.
Whoa.
So, but of course, I jumped in the car, started the engine, and maneuvered it sideways so it would stay put. I never revealed that moment to Hildy. So Jackie Cooper does not hold back in that book.
He does not. He does not hold back.
I mean, could you?
Oh my gosh.
It's like,
that's intense.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, so I'll give you a little more.
One more? You got one more?
One of the directors that Joanne Linville had trouble crying for was Leo Penn.
And Leo Penn did one of the recent ones that we talked about, right?
Yeah, he did Any Old Port in a Storm.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, she did a series as a guest star in a show called Judd for the Defense, and she was in this episode called The Holy Grounds, The Killing, about a cult. She was involved in this cult.
Whoa. Okay, this is hard. I'm gonna say true.
True. You got it, Liz.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I got 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Is that like the first time I've ever gotten 3 for 3?
No. You've gotten 3 for 3 before.
Okay.
But how do you know I don't have more?
No, 3 is all I can handle, Paul.
I'm just kidding.
I'm good for 3. What was she saying? What were you going to say?
She was telling an interviewer that as an actor, you can feed yourself with emotion memory, or she didn't say emotion memory. She's just like, that's, the actor studio thing. You can have a memory of something and you latch onto that. She's saying, but one way you really want to feed yourself as the character is like if you play Hamlet, like where did his clothes come from? Why did he like that type of leather? So if you feed yourself with things that you wear and your history and stuff around you, if you have that in the location, and you'd have to see her to be more specific and read her book or maybe be in one of her classes, really. But she was saying when she did this scene, that was the first scene she had to do in this Judd for the Defense, was to cry because her husband's killed in this, and she couldn't come up with the tears. And usually she could just cry all the time. Like I saw a performer recently, and I've been watching all these different takes, and boy, if she can't hit that crying, it's just incredible. And so many performers can do that, male and female.
Yeah.
And if you have that, it's like sometimes it comes natural and easy, but when that dries up, Joanne's saying you got to have other stuff. You got to have other stuff to feed you. And that's why she brought up Leo Penn for that show that they did.
Because he wasn't feeding her.
No. It was, he just happened to be the director. And she wanted to make sure she did a good job for him. No, I think she probably liked him, I would imagine.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't being critical of anything. She was just saying, giving an example.
Just happened to be that role. Yeah.
Where it hit her, where no tears were coming. Oh, crap. I'm supposed to cry in this scene. I've seen like roles that people that are submitted, you can submit for new movies and plays and short films. And somebody put, for the casting audition, like, must cry on cue. Like, I've seen that several times. And it's usually like an independent film or something, or a student film perhaps. And I'm always like, yeah, I'm just not there. I mean, I've done it and I can do it. And I've had some success with some stuff on that. And it's incredible when you can practice that and really, some of those guys, you have to give it up for all those performers out there in the theater world and film world that do it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't.
Not yet. You can't lose.
Not yet. All right. Well, those were some excellent trivia questions, Paul. I can't believe I got all 3. And we want to thank Maxime Gervais for our theme song, Columbo. Thank you so much. And we also want to thank our editor, John Guarenas. Thank you, John, for your editing. And if you'd like to add to our conversation, you can email us at trenchcoatcigar@gmail.com or find us on Instagram. We are at trenchcoatcigar, or connect with us on Patreon. We are patreon.com/trenchcoatcigar. Also, if you would like to give our podcast a rating and a review wherever you listen, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, that would be awesome. It helps our show and it helps more Columbo fans find our show. Paul, one more thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Thanks for listening.
Columbo, trench coat, cigare, là toujours. Columbo, au mambo Columbo, pas de gun, pas de look. Columbo, trench coat, cigare, là toujours. Columbo, au mambo Columbo, pas de gun, pas de look. Passion meurtrière, folie passagère, rien à foutre devant l'expertise policière. T'avais un plan sans faille, pensez à chaque détail. L'inspecteur Columbo pense